Hello, everyone. This is your host, Alex Balgood. And today we have Dr. Kara. She's the CEO of Aculand. She's an acupuncturist, entrepreneur, and the developer of Love Cup, which is like some medicine, and we will be talking about what exactly that is. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you. And let's start with your story. I find it like super fascinating. You don't get to live the life you live often, I guess. So yeah, tell us about your story and how you became an acupuncturist.
Sure. So, well, a lot of people enter the field of acupuncture due to maybe their own health journey, like they've had chronic illness, and acupuncture is the one thing that fixed them. So that's how they started their career. Mine started a bit differently. So actually both my parents are acupuncturists. So I literally grew up with this. I would say it's kind of born into it. It's in my blood. So yeah, I grew up with getting acupuncture, taking herbal medicine. I feel like I was really, really lucky and fortunate to have that childhood and like eating organic before anyone knew what organic was. This was like 36 years ago when I was born. So yeah, it started, I would say, like from birth. And I would say I didn't know that I always wanted to be an acupuncturist. I grew up as a figure skater. So I loved like dance and athletics. So I was training a lot. And if I ever got any little like sports injuries, I'd get some acupuncture and I would heal up really quick. I would see my dad treating my friends with their injuries, and I was just really amazed by the results. So I did the skating for a while till I was about 20 years old. And then I was like, okay, I'm done with this. I'm ready like for a life and, move on, go to school. And then, so I first started studying exercise science and kinesiology. So like sports injuries and athletic things like that. And I did my bachelor's degree in kinesiology, but I didn't necessarily like want to be a physical therapist or a personal trainer. I just didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but I knew like I loved the body. And then I had thought like years ago, like maybe I want to do acupuncture school. And then my mom kind of brought it up again. And I went to the school, took a visit and tour, and like that was it. I fell in love. So that's kind of how it started. Yeah.
That is amazing. I mean, me myself, I've been working with acupuncturists for like a long time. And I am the same. Like I'm fascinated by the whole thing, the way it works. And I love it that it comes from like a lot of like, what is it, like 100 years old or something like that?
Oh, like thousands of years old.
There you go. I was a bit off, but yes.
3 to 5,000 years old.
Yeah, so I think that's like super fascinating, right? That we still use acupuncture now in this modern life where we're like full of technology and we could do all these things, but we still go back to our basics and we're still doing this, right?
Right. I mean, it's totally amazing how they knew the functions of the body thousands of years ago. Like, for example, there's some points on the legs that correspond to vision. And it's like, how did they know that needling this one point on the leg can help the eyes? But now actually, like with modern technology and functional MRIs, it proves like, okay, when this point is needled on the leg, the visual cortex in the brain will light up. So it's like really like gives the proof and validation. Not that we need that scientific proof, but it's kind of nice to have.
Yeah, definitely. Talking about that, it just it brings to my mind a story, right? My grandma, she always, every time we had like a sore throat, she will, I come from like a Mexican background, Latin background. And so I know in Mexico, we had a lot of like cultures and they also were big on medicine. And I know we had a couple of Chinese immigrants when the whole conquer thing happened, and I don't know exactly where she would this come from, but pretty much if you will have a sore throat, she will cook this tomatillo and she will rub it on the elbow area, like really hard. And then also on the bottom of the feet. And then later on with, you know, being the apprentice of like acupuncturists and like chiropractors and all these other healers, then I came to realize that that's the point of the elbow on the outside of the elbow, right?
Yeah, this one right here.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's connected to the throat. So it just blew my mind knowing that. I was like, oh my God, my grandma's been doing all these acupressure points for healing, not knowing this. So I was really, really excited. And as you said, now that we need this scientific validation, but it's kind of cool to see this, that is actually proven and that is a thing, right? And I know you and me, we know how acupuncture works and all that, but I know for a lot of people that's probably listening to us, they're like, I've never had acupuncture. I know that it works with needles, but how exactly does acupuncture works in the body?
Right. Well, it's kind of a complex theory to explain, but some people have heard of like chi, which is, you can think of as like energy or life force. So it's like this chi and energy that's circulating throughout our body. And there's different meridian systems corresponding to the organs. So we have like just for example, spleen, liver, stomach, large intestine. So they're these energy channels, and you can think of them kind of like rivers or like different runways. And if there's a blockage, like say there's like a dam in the river, things will get backed up and it's not going to be flowing. The river's not going to be flowing. So you can think of that like a chi flow is stuck. So we will needle specific points on the body along those meridians to unblock that blockage and get everything flowing. So the big concept is yin yang in Chinese medicine. So like everything needs to be in balance and harmonious. And acupuncture helps balance the body.
Nice. I love that. And I heard also this example on how the acupuncture works. And they said it was also like a freeway, right? That if there's like a car, I guess it resonated really well with me because we live in California.
Totally.
So it's always traffic. So it was this example that this doctor gave. He goes like, yeah, it's, you know, like all these meridians are like our freeways. And if there's a car accident, nothing can flow. And so we need to kind of like fix that.
Right.
So,
I use that analogy also sometimes, when like river sounds a little nicer than the freeway and a traffic jam.
I like
but it's
that.
like, it's the same thing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I love it. And then so going back to those little stock of energy. So pretty much when that happens, that's when some people start having like some sort of illnesses or symptoms or other stuff like that, right?
Right. So, like if there's, for example, pain, we call that a chi and blood stagnation. So the chi helps the blood flow. And so if there's a blockage, the blood gets stagnated and it's not flowing. And when there's like a fixed stabbing sort of pain, that indicates what we call like a blood stagnation. There could also be like a deficiency when there's not enough energy for the chi to flow. And then there's also like an excessive symptom. So it's excess, or there's maybe too much heat, and that's making everything flow kind of recklessly. So you might get some unusual bleeding, like a bloody nose or something like that.
Yeah, it's such an importance to have our body in balance.
It's everything.
Yeah. Even like just in our food, right? They said sometimes don't eat a lot of spicy food, or don't eat a lot of like cold food. I know my grandma always will say like, don't eat a lot of watermelon because it's gonna get your tummy cold, which never makes sense to me. Right? It sounds like, I love watermelon and it does not make me feel cold, but you know, she knew that it has to be like some sort of a balance.
Right.
Do you use acupuncture and herbal medicine together?
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
Yeah.
so actually, like in California for
Mhm.
the license exam, I would say it's the most, like the highest standards in the country. So it's a 4-year master's program, and the herbal component is part of it. So we have to learn all of the herbs. There's hundreds of single herbs and formulas in Chinese medicine that we learn. So combining them is really great. I mean, Chinese medicine is so, so powerful.
It's super amazing. I love it. I mean, just even like with the teas, right? There's like so many teas that are like, take this tea for this, take this, all these different herbs.
Mhm.
What kind of illnesses do you usually treat or recommend, like herbal supplements or teas or your concussions that you might make for your patients?
Well, I treat a lot in my practice women's health. So
Okay.
herbal medicine is really great for menstrual problems like cramps, PMS symptoms,
Mhm.
and really good for fertility, sleep. There's like such a wide range, but that's what I treat mostly.
Nice. And I know it's also coming back from your background of athlete.
Mhm.
You mentioned there's also acupuncture for pain, like,
Hmm.
for like athletes and dancers and
Right.
all that.
Yeah, so I would say pretty much when people think of acupuncture, they think of maybe back pain or neck pain or headaches.
Right.
So it's really kind of like our bread and butter. It's like we're I mean, we're experts in a lot of things, but treating pain is like every acupuncturist can
Right.
treat pain. Like the needles are really incredible. Basically, another explanation of how acupuncture works
Yeah.
is you can think of um, the needle like puncturing the skin creates a tiny little micro trauma.
Mhm.
So the blood or like the body signals, okay, let's bring the circulation, let's bring the red blood cells, the white blood cells. Let's release the endorphins, dopamine, serotonin, your body's natural opioids. So all of these neuroendocrine chemicals,
Mhm.
neurotransmitters are getting released and relieving pain in that way. And then
Right.
also just the local like stimulation of the blood flow and the circulation.
Mhm. That is super cool because I know a lot of people sometimes ask, what's the difference between acupuncture, like, and maybe like massage or like some sort of like exercise. And the way I see it is that acupuncture, because it uses foreign objects for our
Mhm.
body, can go literally deeper to what the massage can do. I mean, massage are great. I'm a
Yeah.
massage therapist myself, and it has like a lot of really good benefits, but definitely I cannot get as deeper as a very small needle. And a
Right.
lot of people are super scared of needles.
Mhm.
Tell us about the needles. Do we
Yeah.
have to be scared of it, or what's going on there?
Right. A lot of my patients, it's their first time, and it's pretty great to think that people actually come to acupuncture when they're terrified of needles, but it's like their last resort. They've
It's
tried
the last
everything, so
resort.
they're like,
Yeah.
okay, I'll do it. But they're actually so tiny. They're really, really thin. It's nothing like getting a shot. So a hypodermic needle is hollow, and
Mhm.
you're actually injecting something into your body. The
Right.
acupuncture needles are solid, and they're thin, they're stainless steel, and they're very flexible. So sometimes you can't even feel them at all. Sometimes you might feel like a little tiny prick, but it's really comfortable. Most patients fall asleep. It's very relaxing. So it's
Mhm.
nothing to be scared of. I mean, it's normal, but most patients get used to it, and just communicate with your practitioner. You
Mhm.
know, it's it's really like a conversation, and we check in like, are you feeling okay? Is this all right? You know, we want the patients to be comfortable. There will be some points, where you're going to feel a little more, but
Mhm.
it should never be like unbearable pain.
Right, like you're in a torture chamber or
No,
something
yeah,
like that.
no, no.
Yeah, it's really personally, I've had acupuncture a lot of times. I had it in my face, which is one of our most sensitive I guess skin type.
Mhm.
I had it on my hands too. I had it for all types of things, from acne to like stomach problems to pain. Also, I am a dancer, so we put our body through so much
Right.
that we do need some sort of treatment. And as massage acupuncturist could be for relaxing, as to give it some sort of like care, and
Mhm.
it could be for very uh, acute disease or illnesses or injuries. Um, do you use the needles with like stem units, or do you use fire? I know there's a bunch of different types of things that you could do with the acupuncture.
Mhm. I will use so it's like an e-stim electrical stimulation machine.
Mm-hmm.
I use that sometimes. Some practitioners love it and use it a lot. It's
Mm-hmm.
not like my most common modality, but it
Mm-hmm.
is good for like maybe very stubborn pain conditions,
Mm-hmm.
when we need like a lot of extra stimulation. And then the moxa, which is an herb
Mm-hmm.
that we use to warm up the points in the body, I'll use on occasion too. I don't use those all the time because I do, and I'm sure we'll talk about later, is a lot of cupping. That's kind of my
Yes,
thing.
it's coming.
But
Oh,
yeah, the electrical stimulation is great. And then the moxibustion, that's like an incredible system. And that's almost like can be a whole thing on its own too.
how does that work? I don't think I've heard of that before.
So it's an herb. You might have seen it. They have it in different forms.
Mm-hmm.
So it's mugwort is the English name, and it's very warming. And they can make it in almost what looks like a big cigar. It's like a stick
Oh, okay,
that
okay.
you
I know what they are. Yeah,
light
yeah.
the end and it burns. And then
Mm-hmm.
there's also the loose moxa,
Mm-hmm.
where you can like roll into a ball and put on top of the needle, or you might like
Yes.
slice a piece of ginger and put that on the stomach and then put some moxa on top of it. They also make different devices
Mm-hmm.
that you can put the loose moxa in and burn and like heat over the body.
Yeah, it's almost like an instant type, right? Is that what it is? And then you burn it.
Hmm. Yeah,
Nice.
it's
Nice.
really great for fertility and for especially places in cold climates. Like
Mm-hmm.
LA is not so cold, so I feel like
Right.
we maybe don't do as much moxa here,
Right.
but it's really great for like cold, damp places too.
Nice, nice. So let's talk about the cupping, because I know you're like an expert on this, and I know you were like the one that come up with the cupping, the love cupping.
Heart shape, yeah.
Yes. Tell us a little bit more about that and how you came up with this idea of making these traditional cupping, which looks just like a little cup
Mhm,
that suctions into the skin,
mhm.
to a cool thing now that is your love cups.
Yeah. So cupping has been around for thousands of years and it's
Mhm.
actually used in all different cultures. So not just Chinese medicine. I think
Yes.
like some of the latest kind of images of cupping date back to the Egyptians and the hieroglyphics.
Right.
And then
Wow.
also in some like Chinese tombs, they've found the like manuscripts with cupping. But
Wow.
it's used a lot in the Middle East. It's called hijama, if I'm pronouncing that correct.
Yeah.
And I know they use it in Europe a lot. Also, like
Latin
like
America uses too.
Latin American, yeah. So it's used throughout the world as like a old, almost kind of like the grandmother. Everyone says like, "Oh yeah, my grandmother is
Yes.
cupping on me."
With an
So
actual cup.
with cups, yeah, you can use like
Yes.
a glass jar.
Yes.
It's
Hmm.
really meant to be like an at-home therapy.
Hmm.
And they would use it for, well, it's also kind of translated as wind,
Yeah. Hmm.
ventosas, right?
That's how we call it in Spanish. Yeah.
In Spanish,
Ventosas.
yeah. So wind. So basically, similar to so in Chinese medicine, we call it like releasing the wind or releasing the
Yeah.
exterior. We can pull out the wind.
Yeah.
So if you're coming down with a cold or you feel like you're getting
Hmm.
sick, a lot of times we attribute that to like a wind attack people think it's like an old wives' tale, like, oh, I
This
caught
is
it
true,
still,
people.
right? But it's actually true.
Yeah, I love it.
I mean, it could be a virus, but you're more susceptible. Like if your neck is exposed, that's why we always like to keep the neck covered when it's cold or windy out, because it's a vulnerable spot. And there's acupuncture points that have the name wind in them, like that are related to this area, and that so we want to release whatever like pathogen, or it's called like an external evil that has entered. So if you start to feel sick, like right away, we could do cupping, except for now due to COVID, like no one can really come in if they're sick.
Let's
But
not do that.
before that, patients would come in all the time if they were feeling like they're sick, or if they have a cough or a cold. It's really good to relieve that congestion. And it's good for asthma. So there's that aspect of it. And then there's also great for just like, I treat a lot of patients with just muscle tension. I mean, everyone has like a tight neck and shoulders or low back from all the sitting and all the computer work.
And the phone,
text neck, bad posture.
text neck,
Feels really good. It increases the circulation and the blood flow. So basically fresh oxygenated blood flow comes to the area. So that's how it helps with the circulation. And it's good for like the lymphatic system. It also is good for the nervous system, because most of us are in like that fight or flight, sympathetic nervous system. And acupuncture, along with cupping, helps get us into that parasympathetic, into that relaxation. It's also like similar to massage therapy. It's like a touch, and like the body really likes that. So instead of applying positive pressure, like in massage, it's negative pressure. So it's like lifting up the tissues and giving space. It's good for like the tight muscles. And then the traditional cups are circles. Like they used to use different instruments. Like even some of the books show in Africa, I don't know, hundreds, maybe thousands of years ago, they would use a horn. And
wow,
like,
never heard of that.
cupping it's actually kind of like a reflex. If you smash your hand in something, you might like want to suck the spot that hurts. It's something that has been used to relieve pain. So they would like if there was an insect or a snake bite, they would use the horn and suck out, like it's cupping, suction, suck out the poison. They were
a lot smarter than us, because now if someone sees someone been bitten by a snake, you want to suck it yourself. And that's bad. Don't do that.
Right. And so those were like, all the cups were just circles. It was actually just because of Instagram that I kind of thought of, it'd be cute to have a heart shape. So I have some of the cups here. So these are the love cups that we have. These are the ceramic ones that we do for the fire cupping, which is the traditional way. And now there's like very easy, these plastic suction ones where you just use a little pump gun, and it's like really easy way to do cupping.
Those are really, really cool. Is there a difference between doing it with, because me myself, I have just the regular ones that are like with the gun, you just suck the air.
Right.
And what's the difference between doing that and do the other ones with the fire? Because those are the original ones. That's how everybody did it. My grandma will burn a newspaper and be like, boom, on you.
Right. I mean, it's the same it's the same concept. The fire, you do get you get some of the heat from the fire. The heat's not actually on you, but it's just used to suck out the oxygen to create the negative pressure. So the more traditional way, I love fire cupping. Like I used to only do fire cupping until I started with the air ones, which are just really easy. Sometimes you don't want to deal with a flame. But it's the same concept. You can maybe get a bit stronger suction with the fire.
That's awesome. And then I know some people might be like also a bit scared of like doing the cupping because of uh the aftermath when you get the cupping, right? So
The
you get
aftermath.
yeah, so pretty much, you get these cups, they suck on your skin, and then whatever time, I think that you live for like 15-30 minutes, whatever it is, and then it could turn really almost like a hickey, right?
Mhm,
Like because it's sucking on the skin, so it might bruise your skin.
mhm,
So sometimes it turns, I know for mine, sometimes I do really well and it just turns like a little red, and
mhm,
sometimes it's like black, purple, blue,
mhm.
like all these color circles that I get. Can you explain about why and why people shouldn't be scared of that?
Right. Well, I never really like to leave them on more than 10 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I feel like
Good to
that's
know.
enough. If it gets much longer,
Mhm.
that's when it could be too much. Like it could be too much time on
Okay.
the skin. So just safety wise, I don't really like to leave them on that much longer. But the color, so as far as in Chinese medicine, we use the
Mm-hmm.
color to kind of indicate what's going on internally in the body. So it's
I see.
normal to have like a light pink to a darker color pink mark that shows like healthy circulation. If there's
Mm-hmm.
almost no mark at all, like very pale, almost a lighter color,
Mm-hmm.
we consider that more of maybe like a blood deficiency. I
Oh,
see that
okay.
a lot, maybe like in vegan patients, if they're not, nourishing enough,
Right,
um,
right.
or maybe not absorbing enough nutrients. So there's
Mm-hmm.
like a lack of blood or a lack of chi and energy. So there's not enough blood to kind of come up to the surface.
Right.
And then if it's like a more dark and like purple, that indicates more of what we call like a blood stagnation. You could also just have that if you work out a lot and use a lot of muscles. So there's some spots where it's normal, it's going to be a bit darker.
Mm.
But the more often it's done, the lighter the marks will get because your blood vessels get stronger and the circulation is better. So it's a really good gauge to see like kind of the inside, what's going on. And so it is totally normal to get the marks,
Mm-hmm.
and they fade away. So
Right. So that's really good because for whoever is listening out there, yeah, it's kind of normal and it takes a few days to go away. Just drink water, I guess.
yeah, lots of water. I mean, if it's really bad and if it's a patient's first time, it could be a week or 2 weeks and they could still have some marks, and just shows they really needed it. And then you'll see they get it done, more frequently, and then the marks will be so much lighter and go away quickly.
Nice. Do you do that cupping? I know this is a little bit of the more extreme side of the cupping therapy, but I had done one time where the practitioner almost poked my skin to
Mhm.
bleed, and then they put the cupping.
Right. So that would be called wet cupping. The other cupping
Wet
without
cupping.
bleeding is dry cupping.
Oh,
Wet cupping is used a lot in the Middle East. It's also used in China. Technically, in California, we don't do like the
okay.
wet cupping because we're not supposed to. We can only use acupuncture needles.
Right.
Sometimes that will happen if we had needled first and then
Normal.
cup
Yes.
over it. But sometimes they'll use like a razor or like a lancet, a 3-pointed needle
Hmm.
to create the little incisions and then cup over it. Yeah, it's definitely it's more, yeah, like you said, it's more extreme. It's stronger. I don't think it's fully necessary, but that's
Oh,
that's
okay.
what wet cupping would be. Just would be like you would release even more. Back in the day, like they would call it bloodletting. Like
Oh,
it's a therapy. Yeah.
right. Right.
And they would use that in Western medicine too, the bloodletting.
Wow.
Mhm.
Yeah. And it was pretty good. So
Mhm.
it didn't hurt either.
Yeah,
Just
it's
it did
effective,
bruise a lot afterwards.
definitely effective.
Yeah, it was pretty cool to experience it, and and as you said, probably here in California, you might not get that type of treatment, but
Yeah,
you
I
know,
mean, some people may do it. It's definitely messy. A
it
lot of
is,
blood.
and we probably don't want to do it in these times of COVID,
Mhm,
just for healthy measurements and all that. But
exactly. Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And so, I know you do cupping, so you do cupping, you do needles, and do you do also the acupressure points, like with seeds? I know you guys also, as an acupuncturist, you guys also use seeds, which at first, when I had it the first time, and this is when I was like, I don't know, 18,
Mhm.
and they put it on my ear, and I think a lot of people had experienced that. For some reason, because nobody explained me anything, I really thought like the practitioner had put some maybe like baby needles or something,
Oh
because it
yeah.
was so painful.
Mhm.
And then later on, he was like, "Oh no, you just have seeds," and I was like,
Yeah.
"What seeds? They were so painful."
Right. Oh, actually, I have. Hold on one second. I have some
Yeah, yeah.
right here. Um, so there's seeds that you can
Mm-hmm.
use. There's also magnets
Okay.
or like
Mm-hmm.
beads. And so that's auricular therapy. So ear acupuncture.
Uh-huh.
Some people have heard of foot reflexology.
Yes,
This
yes.
is ear reflexology. So the whole body would be mapped out in the ear. And it's
Mm-hmm.
an incredible system. It's like a micro system, we call it.
Okay.
And I love using ear points. Because you can access the whole body through the ear. And I especially like it
That's so
for pain
incredible.
conditions.
Mm-hmm.
So like, for example, this would be the spine. So if you had neck pain, you would go here, and then all the way up to here would be like the low back and tailbone.
Mm-hmm.
And now they also make cute little things. So there's like crystals,
Oh
and
wow.
then on the backside is the tiny little bead.
I
So there's
see.
like stainless steel, or like traditionally they would use the seeds,
Mm-hmm.
stainless steel or like 24 karat gold plated beads.
Wow.
And yeah, they can be extremely painful. And like this tiny little bead can be more painful than like any acupuncture needle when it's
Yes.
right on the spot that you need. Like, say you
Mm-hmm.
have like a really bad pain in the neck and you find that tender spot and you can place the bead there. It can be so painful, like you can't sleep on that side. So I
Oh
always tell people,
yes.
if it really hurts, just take it off.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very effective. And you could also just, massage the ear, massaging the whole ear. It's really good. It's very stimulating and it's good for like the whole
The
body.
whole body.
Yeah, auricular therapy is great.
I love it. Yeah. My surprised face when I saw that it was just a little seed. It was pretty great.
You're
He
like,
was
I
like,
thought there was a needle.
yeah,
Oh yeah, we also can needle the ear. We do needle the ear
oh,
as well.
that probably is super
Um,
painful.
and there's a whole product protocol for addiction called the
Oh,
NADA protocol, that's used, and also it's used for like PTSD, and they use it. The military uses it. It's called battlefield acupuncture because they can
wow.
actually do this like in the battlefield for injuries and things like that.
Never heard of that.
Yeah,
That is real cool. Talking about battles, do you do this on kids?
kids. I
Yeah.
do actually. Yeah, I think like the youngest little one I treated was maybe around a year old. Sometimes we won't always use needles. If we do the needle like at that age, we might just like tap a tiny one in and take it out. But there's different tools that we can like stimulate the points using little tools and massage and like tuina, which is the Chinese massage. So it's actually great for children. They respond really quickly.
Nice. Uh, do you also use it on pregnant women, or you don't recommend?
Acupuncture is safe throughout the whole pregnancy. There's just certain points that we avoid, and usually do like, very light treatments, just depending on what's going on. A lot of times, like in first trimester, we'll use it for nausea, and just to help with energy. And then towards the end, before labor for a few weeks, we'll do some points to help the body prepare for labor and like ripen the cervix and get you ready.
Nice.
Mhm.
And as you use it for like pain, and we talk about all that, do you usually also use acupuncture for like mental health?
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely. So many people come just for like stress, anxiety, depression. It's really great for that.
nice, nice. Is there anything that you would like to add to our conversation today?
I think we covered a lot, but I would just say, so many people haven't tried acupuncture yet,
Yes.
and
Mm-hmm.
like they don't actually know how many things it can help them with. For example, so many women suffer from like painful periods and cramps every single month and are really like have to take painkillers and are suffering.
Yes.
And also like bad PMS and like really intense mood swings. And I just want them to know that like acupuncture and Chinese medicine can help a lot. Like you don't have to suffer. You can actually have pain-free periods and have cycles where you don't get, feel crazy before. Like you can have balanced moods and feel good. So that's one thing I'd say. Also, it's just really great for digestion and stress relief. Um, yeah, I recommend everyone try it. And also, like, if you didn't love it your first time, maybe try a different practitioner because,
Mm-hmm.
maybe you just didn't connect with that one person. But I'm sure there's someone out there that you'll love because most people love their acupuncturist.
I love acupuncturists. I love them all. But yeah, you're right. Some of them might have like a little bit of a heavy hand or whatever.
Yeah, the different style, like,
Right.
might not be for you. Mhm.
Yeah. But I always see, yes, you're right. Try it. Would definitely, she recommends, I recommend it. I had it a lot of times. As I said, I had it for my face, I had it for muscle pain, I had it for stomach ache. As you said, it's good for or hormonal issues.
Mhm.
So this is like a really amazing therapy modality that everybody can try it at any time of their life, pretty much.
Yeah.
And it's good, as you said, it's good for women, it's good for kids. Do you have a lot of men that comes to your office too?
I don't treat that many men, honestly. Mostly women. I do treat some men. Most of the time, it's like
Back
they
pain.
bring their partner in. Um, Guys in general don't get as much acupuncture. They're because guys are just not as good at keeping up with their health. They'll have to be
That
like
is true.
almost dying to get help, But it's great for men as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So all of you men that are listening, please try acupuncture. It's gonna make you feel really good.
Yeah, you need it. I'm sure you need it.
We all need it to balance our life. Well, this has been a great, amazing conversation full of information, and I love that. I hope, um, I've loved acupuncture for so long. Hopefully, whoever is listening, please try it. It's gonna help you feel so much better, even if you don't have any pain, or you could just do it to treat yourself, or get your energy balance and feel good. So
Absolutely. Mhm.
yes, and if anyone wants to look you up or maybe have a session with you, where can they find you?
Yeah, my website is drkaraaculand.com. And the Instagram is dr.kara.aculand. So yeah, you can find me there.
Perfect. And I will also put your information on the show notes.
Perfect.
And thank you all for listening. If you need to look me up, you can always find me at www.alexvalgood.com. You can also find me on Facebook and Instagram as alexvalgood. As Alex Valgood. Sorry about that. All right. Thank you, everyone, and many blessings. Thank you, Doctor.
Bye. Thanks.